Have you ever noticed how your muscles feel weaker, or how climbing a simple flight of stairs suddenly becomes a challenge? Maybe your sleep doesn't feel as restful, or you find yourself forgetting little things more often. These changes sneak in quietly, and many of us assume it's just part of getting older. But what if I told you it's not just age slowing you down? What if there's something more going on beneath the surface that most people overlook? This isn't about blaming yourself or your lifestyle. It's about understanding a hidden truth that can make a huge difference in how you feel every day. Too often, these common struggles are dismissed as inevitable when really, they are signs your body is asking for a little more care and attention. In this video, I'm going to share with you a surprising insight that could change the way you think about aging. By the end, you'll learn a simple but powerful habit that many seniors have found to help reclaim their strength and vitality. So, let's explore this journey together. Because feeling your best at any age is not just a dream, it's possible. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Part 1. Why seniors often hesitate to say enough. There's a moment that many older adults recognize, though they may not always talk about it. It often happens in the quiet of the evening, after the busyness of the day has settled. Maybe you're sitting by the window, sipping your evening tea, and you remember a conversation with your children or grandchildren. A moment when someone asked for your help or your time, even though you were tired. Maybe it's a neighbor who always wants you to watch their dog, or a friend who expects you to drive them to appointments. You sigh, remembering how you agreed, even though your back ached or your mind needed rest. I should be helpful, you think. That's what I've always done. For so many seniors, saying yes comes as naturally as breathing. It's how you were raised. In American culture, especially for those born in the 1940s and 50s, there was a strong message about duty, about being polite, dependable, and putting others first. Family, friends, and community all matter deeply. Sometimes, it feels like the only way to keep those connections strong is to keep agreeing, to keep showing up, no matter how you feel inside. You may tell yourself that you're just being considerate, that it's better not to make waves, and besides, these are little things, nothing worth fussing over. But after a while, the little things add up. Maybe your days begin to fill with obligations that leave you little time to enjoy your hobbies or to rest. Maybe you find yourself at family events, feeling invisible as others speak over you, or at church, always volunteering even when your heart isn't in it. It can be exhausting, but you brush it off. That's just life at my age, you say. Yet underneath, there's a quiet, persistent ache, a feeling that your needs don't seem to matter as much as everyone else's. Isn't it strange, though? After all these years, after building a life, raising a family, and surviving hardships, you'd think it would get easier to speak up for yourself. But for many seniors, it's the opposite. With each passing year, it sometimes feels harder to say what you want or to tell others when you're tired or need space. Why is that? Let's pause for a moment and turn this question on its head. What if instead of seeing these hesitations as just the way things are, we asked, why do so many of us, as we get older, find it so difficult to say enough? What if, rather than believing it's simply a matter of politeness, we wondered whether something deeper is at work, something we rarely acknowledge, but that quietly shapes our days and even our well-being? Many people assume that, with age, comes confidence, the wisdom to know what matters and the courage to speak up. And yes, experience does bring wisdom, but it doesn't always bring the freedom to use your voice. In fact, for many seniors, there's a hidden barrier that's stronger than ever. The fear of being seen as difficult, ungrateful, or a burden. Culturally, there's long been an expectation in America that elders should be gracious, self-sacrificing, and quietly resilient. Those values aren't all bad. They've helped generations weather tough times, support families, and keep communities close-knit. But sometimes, those same values can turn into invisible chains. After years of looking out for everyone else, it can feel almost unnatural to draw boundaries or to say, "I need a break," or "I can't do this anymore." There's an unspoken worry. If I say no now, will people think I've changed? Will they stop coming around? Will they love me less? This is where science and psychology offer some gentle, eye-opening truths. Researchers studying the mental health of older adults have found that the reluctance to set boundaries isn't just about personality. It's often a learned response, rooted in a lifetime of social expectations. Studies show that many seniors, especially women, report higher levels of people-pleasing behaviors as they age. The reason? They fear social isolation more than discomfort or exhaustion. In other words, many seniors believe that by always saying yes, they will avoid being left out or forgotten. But the reality is, the cost of constant compliance is high. Chronic stress, low mood, and even physical symptoms like headaches or insomnia often follow. Over time, this can erode self-esteem and leave you feeling powerless in your own life. And there's another consequence, one that's rarely spoken aloud. When you never say enough, you send yourself a message: my needs aren't important. So, what can you do? Is it really possible to change a habit of a lifetime, to start honoring your own needs without feeling guilty? Here's the good news. Setting boundaries and learning to say enough isn't about becoming selfish or shutting people out. It's about practicing a kind of self-respect that deepens your relationships rather than weakens them. When you take care of your own needs, you show others how to value you, and you become a healthier, happier presence in their lives. The first step is simple. Notice the small moments when you're tempted to say yes, but you feel resistance inside. Maybe it's when your neighbor asks for another favor, or your grandchild wants you to babysit again, even though you have plans. Pause. Listen to your body. Is your heart heavy? Are your shoulders tense? These are signs from your body and mind that you need to pay attention to your limits. Try this gentle phrase the next time you feel pressured. I'm so glad you thought of me, but I'm going to pass this time. I need a little rest today. Or, I appreciate you including me, but I have other plans I want to keep. At first, this might feel awkward. Maybe you're afraid people will be disappointed. But more often than not, you'll find that people understand. Sometimes even respect you more for being honest. If it helps, start by setting boundaries in small, low-risk situations. For example, if you're at a social gathering and someone asks if you'd like another piece of cake, it's okay to say, "No, thank you, I'm full." Or if a friend invites you out when you're tired, you can respond, "I'd love to catch up another day, but tonight I need some quiet time." Each small step builds your confidence. Let me share a story that might sound familiar. Margaret, a retired nurse in her early 70s, spent years taking care of others, her patients, her children, her husband. After he passed away, she found herself busier than ever, filling her days with errands for neighbors, church committees, and family gatherings. She rarely sat still, always putting everyone else's needs ahead of her own. But over time, Margaret noticed she was becoming irritable, exhausted, and sometimes resentful. She wondered, is this what retirement is supposed to feel like? One afternoon, after a particularly busy week, Margaret found herself sitting at her kitchen table, head in her hands. Her daughter called, asking if she could watch the grandchildren on short notice, again. Margaret hesitated, feeling her heart race. For the first time, she heard herself say, "I'm sorry, honey, but I need a quiet weekend to myself. Let's find another time." There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then her daughter said, "Mom, I didn't realize you were so tired. Thank you for telling me. I'll figure something out." That small no was a turning point. Margaret began to set gentle boundaries, explaining her needs with love and honesty. Gradually, she noticed her mood lifting, her sleep improving, and her joy returning. Her family still needed her, but now they appreciated her more, and so did Margaret herself. It's important to remember, setting limits doesn't mean you care less. It means you care enough about yourself to protect your energy, your peace, and your happiness. The people who truly love you will understand. In fact, by respecting yourself, you show them how to respect you as well. Here's a simple habit you can try this week. Every morning, take a quiet moment to check in with yourself. Ask, what do I need today? Maybe it's a walk in the park, a nap, time with an old friend, or simply a few hours to read. When someone makes a request, pause before answering. Permit yourself to consider your own needs first, without guilt. If you want to say yes, do it with a full heart. If you need to say no, say it kindly, knowing you are honoring both yourself and your relationships. You might be surprised at how freeing it feels. Over time, the habit of listening to your own needs becomes more natural, and the fear of disappointing others fades. You gain a sense of control over your days, a precious gift at any age. And if you ever feel hesitant or unsure, remember Margaret's story, and remember this: you have already lived a lifetime of caring for others. Now, it's your turn to care for yourself. Saying enough isn't a weakness. It's a quiet strength that honors all the years you have given, and all the years you still have ahead. So today, let this be your gentle encouragement. Your voice matters, your needs matter, and it is never too late to start honoring both. Saying enough is not the end of giving. It's the beginning of living with dignity, joy, and true self-respect. The power is already inside you. Sometimes, all it takes is a single word to set it free. Part 2. The deeper meaning of saying enough. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. There comes a point in life, often quietly, sometimes all at once, when the simple word enough starts to mean something deeper than just setting limits. Maybe it's a late afternoon, sunlight streaming through the window, and you're lost in thought about all the times you've carried more than your fair share. Family worries, old regrets, silent aches and burdens you hardly let yourself name. For years, you kept moving, putting one foot in front of the other, doing what was expected, letting small annoyances pass, swallowing your own needs for the sake of others. It was just how things were done, especially in your generation, where self-sacrifice and stoicism were prized virtues. But deep down, every person reaches a moment of quiet reckoning. It's not always dramatic. It can be as gentle as saying no to a request that would leave you tired, or as powerful as realizing you don't have to keep apologizing for who you are. That's when enough stops being a word and starts becoming a turning point, a way of reclaiming your life, piece by piece, with every boundary you set and every truth you finally say aloud. Most of us were raised to believe that giving, serving, and enduring were signs of strength. And in so many ways, they are. There's real beauty in caring for others, showing up, and doing the hard work that keeps families and friendships together. But somewhere along the way, many of us learned to measure our worth by how much we could bear or how little we complained. Saying enough felt selfish, even risky. What if people thought less of us? What if saying no meant being left behind? But what if we look at it another way? What if, instead of a weakness, enough is an act of courage? What if it's a turning point that signals a deeper respect, not just for yourself, but for the very life you've been given? Science and psychology tell us something fascinating here. Studies in the field of positive aging have shown that people who learn to set boundaries and speak up for their needs enjoy better mental health, higher satisfaction with life, and even longer, healthier lives. Researchers call this assertive self-care, and it isn't about being demanding or self-centered. It's about honoring the fact that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable, no matter how old you are. By saying enough, you aren't closing doors, you're opening new ones to joy, peace, and genuine connection. Think about it. How many times have you stayed silent when something felt wrong, just to keep the peace? How often have you gone along with someone else's plans, even when you wanted something different? Each time, a little piece of your energy slips away, until one day, you wake up and wonder, whose life am I living? In American culture, independence and self-reliance are cherished values. Yet, for older adults, there's often an unspoken expectation to step aside, make room, and quietly fade into the background. But the truth is, your wisdom, your voice, and your happiness still matter. Maybe more now than ever. The deeper meaning of enough is this. It's not about shutting people out. It's about finally letting yourself in. Let's break it down simply. When you say enough, you're drawing a line in the sand, not to keep love out, but to keep your spirit whole. It's telling the world, and yourself, that your feelings, needs, and dreams are worthy of attention. It's a way of standing tall, even if your body sometimes feels weaker, and reminding yourself that the sum of your life is not measured by self-denial but by how authentically you live. Here's where science offers a hopeful twist. Research from the University of Michigan and other leading centers shows that older adults who practice healthy boundaries experience less depression, lower rates of chronic stress, and improved physical health. One study found that seniors who felt empowered to say no reported better sleep, fewer aches and pains, and more satisfaction in their relationships. Another study highlighted that those who valued their own needs were more likely to engage in activities that brought them joy. Gardening, painting, traveling, or simply enjoying a quiet afternoon without guilt. The message is clear. When you say enough, you're choosing life over mere existence. But how does this look in real life? Sometimes, it's as simple as recognizing when something no longer serves you. An old routine, a draining relationship, or a habit that keeps you from feeling your best. Other times, it's more complicated, involving years of unspoken rules and family expectations. Still, every journey begins with a single, honest moment. Take the story of Samuel, a widower in his late 70s from Ohio. For most of his adult life, Samuel was the dependable one. The neighbor who shoveled everyone's driveway, the father who always helped move furniture, the friend who would never turn down a request. After his wife passed, Samuel filled the silence with constant busyness, afraid that if he ever stopped, loneliness would overwhelm him. But eventually, the weight of always saying yes began to wear him down. His health faltered, and he grew resentful of the very people he loved. One evening, after declining yet another invitation, Samuel sat in his favorite chair, heart heavy but oddly relieved. It was the first time in years he had chosen himself. He realized, almost with wonder, that the world didn't fall apart. His friends still called. His children still visited. But for the first time, he felt peace, a peace that grew every time he honored his limits, rather than pushing past them. Enough, he realized, wasn't about building walls. It was about finding his center, his voice, after years of living for everyone else. What about the fear that people will judge you, or that you'll miss out on connection? The truth is, the relationships that matter will grow stronger when you are honest about your needs. It's a gift to your loved ones to show them how to care for you, just as you have always cared for them. And as research shows, people who respect their boundaries are more likely to attract the kind of support and friendship that feels truly nourishing. So, what does practicing enough actually look like? It starts with listening to your body, your feelings, and your intuition. It might mean turning down an invitation because you're tired, or saying no to a favor that would strain your energy. It might mean letting go of roles or responsibilities you've carried for years, making room for new interests, or even new friendships. It's not always easy, and sometimes it takes practice. But every time you say, enough, you reinforce the message that you matter. Try this gentle exercise. Next time you feel pulled in too many directions, pause and ask yourself, if I were my own best friend, what would I want for myself right now? Maybe it's rest, maybe it's adventure, maybe it's a long phone call with an old friend. Let that answer guide your choices, just for today. And if the old doubts creep in, If you worry that saying enough is selfish, or that it means you love people less, remember this. Love that asks you to disappear is not true love. The people who matter will want you to feel whole and happy. By caring for yourself, you teach others how to care for you, too. I once heard a remarkable story from a woman named Evelyn, now 82, who spent her life as a schoolteacher and community volunteer. For decades, Evelyn poured her energy into everyone else: students, friends, family, and neighbors. She never wanted to let anyone down, and she prided herself on her dependability. But after a health scare in her late 70s, Evelyn had to slow down. At first, she felt lost. Who was she, if she wasn't always available? But gradually, she discovered new joys: painting watercolors, tending her garden, reconnecting with her love of music. She began to decline invitations without apology, and say enough to commitments that no longer brought her joy. She found that the friends who stayed were the ones who loved her for who she truly was, not just what she could give. "I wish I'd learned this lesson sooner," Evelyn laughs. "Life is too short to be lived only for others." So, let this be your encouragement. Saying enough is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a richer, truer chapter. It's a practice of self-respect, an act of hope, and a statement that your life still holds value and possibility. As you move forward, try to remember that enough is a gift you give to yourself and those who care about you. It's not about turning away from love or duty, but about choosing how and where to give your time and heart. Every day, you get to decide what fills your hours, your mind, and your soul. And every time you honor your needs, you step closer to the peace and fulfillment you deserve. You have spent decades giving, serving, and showing up for others. Now, it's time to show up for yourself, with the same kindness, compassion, and respect you have always given so freely. The deeper meaning of saying enough is not just about boundaries. It's about embracing your worth, at any age, and knowing that you are allowed to live a life that feels good, meaningful, and truly yours. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Every senior who chooses self-respect over silent sacrifice is building a path for others to follow. Your courage, your honesty, and your willingness to say enough will inspire not only your peers but the generations who come after. So, as the sun sets on another day, may you find comfort in this truth. You are enough, your needs are enough, and your life, at every stage, is worth living with dignity, joy, and the gentle power of your voice. Part 3. How to say enough, gently but effectively. For many older adults, the idea of finally saying enough can feel like a distant dream. Something other people do, maybe, but not you. It's not that you don't wish for more time to yourself or more respect for your needs. It's just that the habit of putting others first has become second nature. Maybe you worry that speaking up will cause hurt feelings or create distance with the people you care about most. Maybe you simply don't know how to begin. But imagine this. It's a quiet Sunday afternoon, and you're sitting at your kitchen table, a favorite mug warming your hands. The phone rings, again. It's your son asking if you can watch the grandkids, even though you just did it last weekend. Or perhaps it's a friend from church, hoping you'll bake cookies for the bake sale, even though your arthritis is acting up. In that moment, you feel your heart tugged in two directions. Wanting to help, but also feeling tired, or maybe even a little resentful. It's a situation so many seniors know well. Those small requests that pile up until you feel there's nothing left for yourself. We've all been taught, especially in America's older generations, that saying yes keeps the peace and shows love. But what if there's another way? What if, instead of sacrificing your well-being to please everyone, you could learn to say enough in a way that's gentle, kind, and true to who you are? What if setting boundaries didn't mean building walls, but building stronger, more honest relationships? The truth is, many people misunderstand what it means to assert yourself. They picture it as confrontation, raising your voice, putting your foot down, demanding your way. But real assertiveness, The kind that nourishes both you and those around you is much softer. It's more like tending a garden than swinging a hammer. And the science agrees. Studies in geriatric psychology show that people who express their needs calmly and kindly are more likely to have supportive, lasting connections with their families and friends. Assertiveness isn't about being pushy. It's about showing up for yourself with honesty and respect, so you can show up for others with genuine love. So, how do you begin? First, notice the small signals your mind and body give you. When a request comes your way, pause for a heartbeat before responding. Is your stomach tightening? Do you feel a flicker of annoyance, fatigue, or dread? Maybe there's a voice in your head whispering, "Not again," or "I wish I could say no." These signals matter. They are your intuition gently asking for your attention. Allow yourself a moment to check in. What do I need right now? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Second, permit yourself to consider your needs as valid as anyone else's. This is a radical shift for many seniors who spent decades caring for others. But it's essential. When you respect your boundaries, you permit others to do the same. You become a role model for self-care, not just for your children and grandchildren, but for friends and peers, too. Third, practice simple, kind language that sets limits without creating distance. You don't have to offer long explanations or apologies. Try these gentle responses the next time someone asks more than you can give. "I'm sorry, but I need to rest today. I'd love to help, but I have other plans. That sounds wonderful, but I can't take it on right now. Thank you for thinking of me, but I need to say no this time." It's amazing how powerful these little sentences can be. They're honest, clear, and respectful of both you and the other person. With practice, they become easier to say, and those around you begin to understand your boundaries. Fourth, anticipate the feelings that may come after setting a boundary. Guilt, anxiety, or worry about disappointing someone often bubble up, especially at first. That's normal. After all, you're changing patterns built over a lifetime. But pause and remind yourself that taking care of your well-being is not selfish. It's necessary. Science shows that when people take time for themselves, their energy for others increases. You'll have more to give, and what you give will come from a place of real joy, not obligation. Now, let's ground this with a true story. Meet Harold, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. For years, Harold was the rock for everyone. His family, neighbors, and his church. If someone needed help moving, fixing a faucet, or organizing a community event, Harold was the first to volunteer. He wore his generosity like a badge of honor. But as he aged, arthritis made physical tasks painful, and constant requests started to wear him down. He began to dread his phone ringing, feeling resentful and even angry, emotions he hardly recognized in himself. One evening, after a long day of running errands for others, Harold's daughter called to ask if he could babysit her kids at the last minute. Harold felt a familiar tightness in his chest. This time, instead of immediately saying yes, he took a deep breath and replied, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, but I need a quiet evening to myself tonight. Let's find another day." There was a pause, and his daughter said, "Okay, Dad. Thank you for telling me." That simple moment was a turning point. Harold realized that setting limits didn't make him less loving. It made his love more sustainable. He began to practice small ways of saying enough every week. And something surprising happened. His relationships improved. His family appreciated his honesty, and Harold found himself enjoying the time he did spend helping, because it was given freely, not out of guilt or exhaustion. So, what gentle solutions can you try in your own life? Here are some practical steps. Practice the pause. When someone makes a request, give yourself a moment. Say, "Let me think about that and get back to you." This simple pause gives you time to check in with yourself, instead of feeling pressured to answer right away. Write down your limits. Make a list of what you're truly comfortable doing and what is too much. Seeing it on paper can make it feel more real and give you the language you need when the moment comes. Role play with a trusted friend. Practicing boundary setting in a safe, supportive environment helps build confidence for real-world situations. Remind yourself, "No" is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify or over-explain. A simple, kind "no" is enough. Another powerful tool is learning to communicate with empathy. You can say, "I wish I could help, but I need to put my health first right now." Or, "I love spending time with you, but today I need a little time for myself." Framing your needs positively helps people understand that your limits come from a place of self-care, not rejection. Sometimes, people won't respond well at first. They may push back or seem disappointed. This is normal, especially if they're used to you always saying yes. Stand firm, and remember, with time, most people will adjust and even come to respect your boundaries. They may start setting better boundaries for themselves, too. Let's not forget the role of community. Reaching out to other seniors, whether in a local support group, church, or even online, can help you feel less alone in your journey. Sharing experiences and strategies with peers builds strength and confidence. Sometimes just hearing, "I struggle with that too," can make all the difference. If you're comfortable, talk openly with your family about why you're starting to say, "Enough." Explain that it's not about loving them less, but about wanting to be your healthiest, happiest self for as long as possible. Most loved ones will appreciate your honesty and may even learn to express their own needs more clearly. Above all, be patient and gentle with yourself. Changing long-held habits isn't easy. You might slip back into old patterns sometimes, and that's okay. Each day is a new opportunity to practice, and every small step counts. To everyone watching, remember this: your voice matters. Your needs matter. There is real courage in speaking up for yourself, not as a rejection of others, but as an affirmation of your worth. When you say, "Enough," gently but clearly, you model self-respect and invite deeper, more honest relationships into your life. As you move forward, keep in mind that setting boundaries doesn't close you off from love. It opens the door to more meaningful, sustainable connections. It frees you to spend your time and energy on what brings you joy, and to be fully present with the people who mean most to you. You've spent a lifetime giving. Now, it's time to give yourself the same care and compassion you have always offered others. Try one small pause today. Practice one gentle no. Celebrate each success. Over time, you'll find that saying enough isn't just a way to protect yourself. It's a way to nurture your relationships, your health, and your spirit. So go ahead, claim your space, honor your needs, and remember, it's never too late to speak your truth, softly and with love. Your life is yours to shape, and every boundary you set is a step toward greater peace, dignity, and joy. Part 4. Benefits of saying enough in daily life. Sometimes, the biggest life changes come from the smallest words. For many older adults, learning to say enough is a simple shift with an extraordinary impact. It's easy to overlook, especially after years of telling yourself that being agreeable, helpful, and selfless is the best way to hold on to relationships and keep life running smoothly. But what happens when you start practicing this little word in your everyday life? The answer, as so many have found, is both surprising and deeply rewarding. Picture this. It's a cool morning, and you're sitting at your favorite spot by the window, watching the world wake up. Maybe you have a good book in your lap, or you're quietly enjoying your coffee. The phone rings. A neighbor needs a ride, or a friend wants to chat for an hour. In the past, you might have set your book aside and rushed to help, even if you were longing for that quiet time. But now, something is different. You gently say, "I'm sorry, I can't today. I need some time to myself." You hang up, and the world keeps turning. Only now, your heart feels lighter, your mind more peaceful. That's the beginning of what saying enough can bring. The first and most immediate benefit is relief from the invisible weight of constant obligation. Many seniors carry this burden for years without ever naming it. It's the pressure to always be available, always be agreeable, to put others first, no matter how tired, overwhelmed, or unwell you might feel. The day you start saying enough, you start putting down that heavy load. It doesn't mean you care less. You may find that, freed from exhaustion and quiet resentment, your caring becomes warmer, more genuine, and more joyful. It's not just about emotional relief. Research in psychology and gerontology tells us that seniors who learn to set boundaries, who give themselves permission to say no, experience measurable improvements in their mental health. A study from Stanford University found that older adults who practice self-advocacy report lower rates of depression, better sleep, and a stronger sense of purpose. When you protect your time and energy, your mind has a chance to rest and recover. You notice a greater sense of calm, a feeling that you're no longer being pulled in too many directions at once. This newfound peace often spills over into your relationships. It might seem counterintuitive. After all, aren't we taught that saying no will upset others, cause conflict, or make us seem selfish? But in reality, relationships almost always improve when you start being honest about your needs. Family members may grumble at first, but soon, they learn to appreciate your clarity. Communication becomes more respectful. Friends and relatives begin to see you as a person with your wishes, not just a helper or background character. The small, nagging resentments that can build up when you say yes too often begin to fade away, replaced by warmer, more genuine connections. Take the story of Elaine, a grandmother from Michigan. Elaine spent her retirement years as the unofficial family helper, babysitting at a moment's notice, running errands for her adult children, organizing every family holiday. She rarely said no, even when her arthritis flared or when she longed for a day to herself. Over time, Elaine became tired, irritable, and even a little bitter. She worried her children took her for granted. One day, after a particularly exhausting week, she decided to change things. She began to politely decline some requests, explaining that she needed time for herself. At first, her family was surprised, even a bit put out. But as weeks passed, something shifted. Her children learned to plan and share responsibilities more fairly. They started to value Elaine's time and health. Most importantly, Elaine herself felt more relaxed and present at family gatherings. Instead of feeling used up, she felt engaged, able to listen, laugh, and truly connect. "I'm a better mother and grandmother now," she says. "I still help, but now it comes from the heart, not from guilt or obligation." Physical health can also improve. Chronic stress, caused by overcommitment and lack of boundaries, takes a real toll on the body. It can lead to high blood pressure, headaches, digestive issues, and even a weakened immune system. By saying enough, you allow your body the time it needs to rest, heal, and rejuvenate. Seniors who protect their downtime report fewer aches and pains, better sleep, and more energy for the things they love. They find themselves walking a little taller, breathing a little deeper, and enjoying their days more fully. There's another, often overlooked benefit: rediscovering your interests and passions. Many older adults find that their days are so filled with tasks for others that they lose sight of what brings them personal joy. When you set boundaries, you reclaim precious time. Maybe it's for gardening, painting, reading, or taking a class you've always wanted to try. Perhaps you spend more time in nature, reconnect with old friends, or finally write down those family stories you've been meaning to preserve. In the quiet space that enough creates, you rediscover what lights you up inside. That, in turn, brings more meaning and satisfaction to your life. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Saying enough can also improve your sense of control and self-worth. As people age, it's common to feel that life is slipping out of their hands, that decisions are being made for them, or that they must go along to get along. Setting boundaries is a powerful way to reclaim your autonomy. It's a reminder that your voice matters, that your days are your own, and that you have the right to shape them as you see fit. Seniors who practice this kind of self-respect often report feeling more confident, more optimistic, and more at ease in the world. Let's not forget the impact on the next generation. By modeling healthy boundaries, you teach your children and grandchildren how to respect themselves and others. You show them that love doesn't mean self-sacrifice at any cost, but rather mutual respect and honest communication. In a world that often asks people to do more and be more, your example becomes a beacon. It's okay to have limits, it's good to take care of yourself, and true connection is built on honesty, not endless giving. Consider the experience of George, a widower in California who always felt obligated to say yes, especially after his wife passed away. He feared loneliness more than anything, so he threw himself into every social event, every request for help, every opportunity to keep busy. But the constant activity left him feeling empty, not fulfilled. Eventually, a friend gently suggested that George take a week to do only what he truly wanted. At first, he worried that friends would forget about him or stop inviting him. Instead, they respected his choice, and George found himself savoring a simple walk in the park, reading novels, and joining a local photography club, something he'd always wanted to try. By saying enough, George found deeper friendships and, more importantly, a renewed love for life itself. Of course, learning to say enough is a journey, not a one-time event. Some days, the old habits will sneak back in. You might find yourself saying yes when you mean no, or feeling guilty for protecting your time. That's normal. Every day is a new chance to practice. Each small enough is a step towards a fuller, more peaceful life. So, how can you begin? Start small. The next time you're asked for a favor, pause and check in with yourself. If your heart says yes, say it joyfully. If you feel hesitation, allow yourself to gently decline or offer another time that works better for you. Notice how you feel afterward, lighter, calmer, more present. Celebrate those moments, however tiny they may seem. You may want to write a list of your own needs and desires, the things you want more of in your life. Post it somewhere visible. Let it remind you that your well-being is just as important as anyone else's. If you find it hard to say no in the moment, practice at home. Say the words out loud in the mirror, or with a trusted friend. Each time you do, it gets easier. Most importantly, remember that saying enough is not a rejection of others, but an affirmation of yourself. It is a sign of respect for your own body, mind, and heart. It is a path to more authentic, joyful relationships, to better health, and to a life that feels genuinely yours. You've spent years, maybe decades, giving to others, building families, helping neighbors, supporting friends, and community. Now, it's time to give something precious to yourself. The space to rest, to enjoy, to simply be. That is the quiet, everyday miracle of enough. So, as the sun sets on this day, ask yourself, could you use a little more enough in your own life? What small step can you take today to honor your own needs and create more peace in your world? Remember, you deserve it. Not just for what you've done for others, but for who you are right now. Your journey is far from over. With each gentle boundary, with every honest enough, you're not closing yourself. You're opening the door to a richer, fuller, and more joyful chapter of your life. And that, perhaps, is the greatest gift you can give yourself and those who love you. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. Learning to say enough is one of the most powerful acts of self-love and respect you can practice, no matter your age. It's not about shutting people out or turning your back on the relationships you cherish. Rather, It's about honoring your own needs and setting healthy boundaries that allow you to be your fullest, happiest self. You have spent a lifetime giving to others, family, friends, neighbors, and community. Now, it's time to give yourself the same care and kindness you have so freely offered. Saying enough means reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. It means creating space for rest, joy, and the things that truly nourish your spirit. Remember Margaret's story, Harold's journey, and Elaine's discovery. Each found strength, renewed happiness, and deeper connection when they began to set gentle but firm limits. You, too, can find this balance. It's never too late to start, and each small step matters. So today, I encourage you to pause and listen to what your heart and body are telling you. Practice saying enough with kindness to yourself and others. Know that by doing so, you are modeling courage and self-respect for everyone around you. If this video has touched your heart or sparked a new way of thinking, please share your thoughts in the comments below. What is one area in your life where you feel ready to say enough? Your story could inspire others on this journey. Thank you for spending this time with me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content designed to support and celebrate your life. Remember, your voice matters, your needs matter, and your life is worth living fully, with dignity, joy, and the gentle power of saying enough.